A diehard Red Sox fan gets to broadcast in the Yankee booth.
Penn State playing at Yankee Stadium, first time since the 20s. More importantly, will Steve Jones be off the naughty list?
And did you see the Yankees baseball season? They're going to see more defense at Yankee Stadium for Boston College and Penn State than they saw the entire regular season. The Pinstripe Bowl edition of the Blue White Tailgate is coming up next.
Welcome. I've got an hour now to get myself to change lists, which means we have to get started here. Steve Jones, Trey, Bauer, Todd, Sadowski, happy holidays. Penn State back into the bowl season, Pinstripe Bowl. We start out with Frankly Speaking, presented by the Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships. Mike Hull on going to a bowl game.
Yeah, we're just really excited to have one more opportunity to be out there, as a team and a family. I mean, everything for us to finish on a high note. We're really excited to get back to a bowl game after 2 years, being under sanction. So it's just a great way to end a career.
Actually, for you, you went to a bowl game early on, but then didn't go to a bowl game in '84. What did it? Now the next one was a national championship matchup against Oklahoma. But what did it mean actually being out a year and then getting back into it?
Well, I think it meant a lot because you just appreciate the fact that you weren't in it. I mean, we kind of chose that and told Joe we weren't going to go, and it was a whole kind of convoluted story. But the fact is that it was weird that Penn State was not in a bowl game. And for these kids, it's a great opportunity for them.
Yeah, they're back.
Absolutely. And what a strange year it's been, right? They started in Ireland. They went the farthest distance, and then they come back and they're going to go to Yankee Stadium, a very drivable trip for the bowl game. But anytime you're in a unique location at the end of the year, I think that's important for the kids. It's a reward for a good season, a lot of hard work. And, of course, they get in all this extra bowl practice, too.
Indeed. There are 12 bowl practices when it's all said and done. I think the number 15's been thrown out there, but it's actually 12 when it's all said and done. C.J. Alanian and the senior class get to go out on what they hope is a high note.
No, it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to all the seniors as well that's been through the whole process. I remember when I first got here, I had an opportunity to go to a bowl game, but having it being taken away from me, it took a lot for me and the seniors, and it's really great that we get a chance to go out there and play one more game, and the fact that it's a bowl game is good as well.
And that group's been through a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fact is that they, it's an unprecedented situation that they're in. The fact is that they played for a number of different coaches. I mean, they got recruited by Joe. Here they are with James, and in between Bill and Tom. And the fact is that they deserve it. You talk about a group of kids that have kind of stuck together. They've done everything that's been asked of them, and they deserve it.
No question. Now they get a quality opponent, too. When you really look into what BC did this year, Todd, they actually played really well.
They are no slouch. You've heard of USC, right? University of Southern California. They put up 450 rushing yards early in the season in that game, 5 rushing touchdowns in that one. And they took Florida State, the team that's undefeated in the college football playoff, took them down to the wire, lost 20-17 at Florida State late in the year. So not only impressive performances early, but also late. And they like to do things unorthodox, offensively and defensively.
By the way, everybody took Florida State to the wire this year. I mean, I don't know if that's an accomplishment. Here's the tail of the tape between the two. Numbers are very interesting. You see the rush offense. Penn State's rush defense outstanding at 85 a game, but look at the BC rush defense at 95 yards a game. Penn State's going to have to throw, and watch for Penn State throwing underneath against this group coming up on Saturday. All right, playing in Yankee Stadium. Hey, Bob Shoop's a huge baseball fan, so going to Yankee Stadium, that's a big deal.
It's a real thrill. I'm a big baseball fan. So the opportunity for us to play in Yankee Stadium is pretty cool, man. I mean, I think it's really neat. And anybody knows I played baseball in college, too. I kind of dreamed someday that I might be playing center field or pitching in Yankee Stadium someday, but I'll take this one. This is good, so.
And Penn State, of course, has been to Yankee Stadium before, the old Yankee Stadium. This is what they've done at Yankee Stadium through the years. And as you can see, they have not played there since 1929, Babe Ruth's 9th season with the Yankees.
NYU. I haven't seen them on the schedule
NYU was
lately.
a juggernaut back in the 20s, in case you were wondering.
7-0.
The only thing about NYU and Penn State connection would be Penn State practiced at NYU for the NIT one year. All right, upon further review, Fran Fisher looks back at great bowl moments.
The 2014 Nittany Lions' upcoming trip to the Pinstripe Bowl sent me to look at the record of past Penn State Bowl trips and at my memory bank. As the broadcaster and athletic administrator, I went on 27 bowl trips to 13 different bowls, to include 4 Sugar Bowls and 6 Fiesta Bowls. At each of those, Penn State won a national championship, of course, trips I'll never forget. However, there was the trip to the 1972 Cotton Bowl that is near and dear to my heart. It was my dear wife Charlotte's first airplane ride. White knuckles at takeoff, seasoned air traveler by the time we landed in Dallas. Wonderful game, defeating Darrell Royal's Wishbone Texas Longhorns 30-6 after trailing 6-zip at halftime. And the post-game celebration was, well, let me tell you about it. When I walked into the Dallas Fairmont Hotel lobby after the game, yes, the one with the Ducks, I was waved over by Mr. W.K. Ulrich. He was chatting with Governor Ray Schaefer. Mr. Ulrich was a devout Penn Stater, class of 1931. He had written lyrics to the tune of I've Been Working on the Railroad and suggested we serenade the celebrants like I'm going to serenade you now. Are you ready for this? Well, we all came down to Dallas on this New Year's Day. Yes, we all came down to Dallas to see our Lions play. Tonight our Texas friends are quiet. The Lone Star State all mourns, for our hard-nosed Nittany Lions have really hooked their horns. Eat your heart out, Billy Joel. Well, we 3 troubadours made the rounds of the dining rooms and each corner of the spacious lobby, beautifully, boastfully bellowing that song and picking up singers with every stop. Even the Ducks were singing. Sadly, there's only one troubadour left to tell that story. For WHVL's Upon Further Review, I'm Fran Fisher. Happy holiday, everyone. Does Doug Flutie still play for Boston College?
Happy holiday to you as well, Fran. Well, very quickly for Joe Paterno, 2 huge early wins in his career. When they went down to Miami and he changed the lineup up in his second year, and that bowl win in '72 told the nation Penn State, after a 30-6 win over Texas, was there. We'll come back with more in a moment on Blue White Tailgate. By the way, the Kalista family wants their poinsettias back after the show. All right, time now to talk a little defense. And Todd, this defense has helped set a tone for a lot of things and sets a tone for a bowl week.
Absolutely. When we talked at the beginning of the show that they didn't see a lot of defense in Yankee Stadium this year, well, they're going to see some this time. The over-under for this game is at 40 points. That is the lowest of any bowl game this year. So expect both the Eagles and the Lions to play a lot of defense at Yankee Stadium. And, you know, this is great. We have a bowl trip to go to. Tickets are selling. It's going to be a big crowd. But how do we get bowl victory number 28?
I think this actually, this bowl game up in New York is going to be awesome. It's great. I think we're going to have a lot of fans there, a lot of Penn State fans. It's close for families to get there and, even Boston College fans and stuff like that. So I think it'll actually be great.
It's going to be a new experience. They used to having baseball games there. And I know as far as the Penn State family, we travel a lot. We bring the whole fan base, and it's going to be like a home game for us as well, too.
The fans will be there to support the team, but it sure would be more fun for everyone if the Nittany Lions get a victory. One thing that will help is the time between the end of the regular season and the bowl game. It is giving the upperclassmen on the offensive line a chance to heal.
I mean, a big thing about offensive line is just experience, getting those snaps on the field, and Donovan and Miles had those more than anyone. So obviously it was great to have those guys back because their experience is very valuable for the whole entire line.
The defense has proved time and time again they are an elite unit. something reinforced by their unquestioned leader.
I think all year long we've been resilient. We've been tested. I think there was only really a couple situations where we could have been better.
Boston College has a solid defense as well, so points may be at a premium in this matchup.
I haven't watched too much of them, but from what I saw so far, caught the game where they played Florida State. They played them very tough. And, they look like a tough physical team that we got to come out and play hard from the jump. So as long as we do that, we'll be in good shape.
Motivation should not be an issue, especially for the seniors putting on the blue and white for the very last time.
It's definitely going to be different just because I know I don't have any more opportunities after this. But, I'm going to prepare in the same way. But, maybe on game day there's going to be a little bit more emotion going. I'm sure it'll hit me after, while I'm playing last game or maybe after whenever I, realize this is it. It's going to be kind of a weird feeling because this has been home for the last 5 years.
Yeah, the last 5 years, Mike Hull has been with the team, and you know what? He's going to be in the center of this game because they run the option. Boston College, 250 yards a game they're averaging, and they stay committed to it. Even they're a little bit down, they're ahead. They're going to continue to run the ball, guys. 64 times they ran the ball against Maine. Now, of course, that was an easy victory for them, but they stay committed to the run. So Mike's going to have to be in the middle of it all, orchestrating the defense.
No offense, we would have run 64 times against Maine.
Yeah. the fighting lobsters. Okay. Yeah.
Black Bears.
Yeah. Maine lobsters, Ghana. Like my sweater.
See where you're going.
Yeah.
See where we go.
Okay. Yep.
How do you defend the option?
The option is it has to start with the inside run game. You have to stop obviously the first read. I think that if you can shut down the running game and not let the quarterback get to the perimeter, that's why I think Anthony Zettel, it's going to be huge. If he plays well, I think Penn State can take it to him.
Well, he knows they're going to face a veteran BC offensive line. One transfer from Florida, but all 5 are graduates. He embraces this.
Yeah, it's big. It's a challenge again. Just like all of our games are challenging, but this is really the final game. These guys are a run type of team with a really veteran offensive line. So we're excited for this challenge. We're preparing for them, studying film, and we're excited to go out there and play against them.
Yeah, no question. And the linebackers become, you mentioned Hull, but getting Brandon Bell back for this game is really important.
Absolutely huge. Anybody that can tackle, we want them out there. The guys that can hit and can wrap up, because it's assignment football when you play against the option. Everybody's got to take care of who they've got right in front of them and wrap them up. Don't let them go.
Now, we mentioned Zettel there. We have him as our family clothesline player to watch in this game. What can he do at that defensive tackle spot that can make a difference?
Well, I mean, the fact is that if we can if Penn State can hold them to less than 3 yards on first down and second down, I mean, we need to get them in 3rd and longs. And if he can do that and he can get off of blocks, I mean, it's going to be a good day for Penn State.
Ironically, the career high passing for Tyler Murphy is against Vanderbilt last year in his last game in Florida. That's his career best. But Vandy won the game 34-17. You got to force this guy to win the game throwing the ball.
And it certainly helps if you get ahead in the game, too, to force them and make them look. They want to be one-dimensional by running the ball, right? And Trey mentioned, let's put them in those situations where they have to throw the ball. Now, he did throw for 1,500 yards. He ran for over 1,000 as a quarterback. He's a smart guy, veteran quarterback. So he's going to make good decisions. They don't turn the ball over much. So you want to get them to turn it over by punting it away.
Yeah, and they're not a turnover team. As you mentioned in our meeting, Todd, they're not a big turnover team. They haven't fumbled that often. They only have 12 turnovers the entire year. But they don't get a lot of takeaways either. So that's going to be one of the differences in this game. And you watch him throw the ball. He's not a bad thrower, but he's really mechanical the way he sets and throws. I'm thinking, okay, he does everything by the numbers. We don't. We'll come back with more in a moment on the Blue White Tailgate presented by Coors Light. Welcome back to the Blue White Tailgate Show presented by Coors Light. Steve Jones, Trey Bauer, now joined by ACC analyst Tommy Bowden from Raycom Sports. Tommy, great to have you with us, Coach.
Thank you. Glad to be on.
Well, you get the extra practices this time of the year. A lot of people say 15. For Penn State, it'll end up being 12. What do the extra practices mean as a bridge, not just to a bowl game, but to spring practice?
Well, a lot of times what you do is you take the guys that are going to play in the game, and you'll go ahead and obviously you don't try to win the game. So there's game-type preparation, game planning you do with the guys that are going to play. Then you take the redshirt guys a lot of times and stay after. Let those guys go and do some fundamental work, even do some scrimmaging. Even they've always been running somebody else's offense or defense, those redshirt freshmen and down the line guys. You put them out there and just let them play football and see if they can make plays, see who the athletes are, and see who the playmakers are. So there's still a lot that can get done with the underclassmen and redshirt freshmen during these 12 practices that Penn State will have. Some of these other teams are having.
Coach Trey Bauer, welcome to the show. The question I have for you is, you've seen a lot of ACC games this year, and obviously Penn State, Boston College. What team in the ACC reminds you of Penn State?
Let me go down the offensive stats and see who performed very mediocre.
Offensively.
Yeah. Defensively, Clemson was the finished up number one defense in the ACC. So Penn State and Clemson defensively are going to be very similar. Offensively, I can't think of. Wake Forest had a very unproductive offense. They had a true freshman quarterback, and they really struggled. I know Penn State, they got an experienced quarterback, but they still struggle on offense. I don't know what offense I would pick out. Because a lot of them are productive other than Wake Forest. But there are some defensive teams. Defensively, I would say Clemson and Penn State would be very similar. I tell you one team, Virginia Tech's offense, to me, would be very similar to Penn State's. Not in style, just more so in productivity.
Give me a read on Tyler Murphy, Tommy, because give me a read on him as a runner of the option, but then also give me a read on him as a guy that throws the ball. Is this a guy you want to put in third and long if you're a defense?
Oh, yes. There's no doubt. They don't throw the ball productively, and again, that's by design. They're going to try to run the football, and consequently, because they run it so well between Tyler Murphy, I think he's averaging 90 yards a game. I think the tailback Hillman's averaging 60 yards a game. They don't get in a lot of third downs, but when they do, they're at a disadvantage. They're like 121st in the nation in passing offense. So, you definitely, if you can get them into third and long situations, you have a huge advantage. But again, their style of offense is not going to put them in that many third and longs.
Coach, what do you think of Steve Adazio as a head coach? And I know that you were familiar with him, in various stops that he's coached. And talk to me a little bit about him.
When we do our show goes down and interviews all the head coaches in the preseason. Of all the head coaches, he's probably the most intense. His players play with an edge, kind of like that underdog mentality. He's got a great running game knowledge. He's an all offensive line coach. He's got confidence because of his background at Florida with Tebow when they won the national championship. So he coaches with a lot of confidence. He also coaches with a lot of emotion, a lot of intensity. And when you go out there in pregame, if you're sitting in the stands in pregame and you watch Penn State on the field in Boston College, you're going to be unimpressed physically with their size. When they play, they ratchet up another notch. They're not going to be very talented on defense. They take on the personality of their head coach, very intense. Consequently, I think they're fourth in the nation in run defense. I think they're 14th in the nation in total defense. So they're not going to be an aggressive group physically, but they play with the personality of their head coach, which is an old offensive line guy, very intense, very emotional, and they play with his personality.
Don Brown, the defensive coordinator, is unconventional in a lot of ways, Tommy. He doesn't match personnel. He basically says, this is what I do, good luck going up against it. He doesn't match personnel. And he also will float his defensive linemen on third down and so forth. How difficult is it to prepare for a guy that doesn't match personnel and also can be unconventional defensively?
Well, the biggest part is being unconventional. They're not going to have a lot of great depth right now until he improves his talent base defensively. He's not going to have the flexibility like a Florida State or a Clemson that's got multi-talented athletes that can play several positions, and he's got a lot of depth. Therefore, he has to be more unconventional. That gives you more problems as an offensive coach and offensive play caller. All of a sudden you see a guy run on the field from a play caller up in the press box. They're going to probably be in some type of particular defense, nickel or dime, or some type of short yards goal line. When you don't make defensive substitutions and you try to be more unconventional with your 11 on the field guys, it presents more problems for you on offense.
You get into these low-scoring games. Give me an idea, just the old coach comes out now, the field position part of this thing for you. How important is it going to be in a game that you don't expect a lot of points?
Oh, it'll be huge because Boston College's strength, the running game, they average 251 yards a game, about 14th in the nation, is Penn State's strength, number one in the nation versus, I think, number one in the nation versus rush, 2 in total defense. Then all of a sudden you go, well, let's go to Penn State. Their rushing attack is not that good. I thought offensively they threw the ball better. They're about 72nd in the nation, and Penn State passing offense about 220 yards a game. So field position will be really important. Penn State, they're not productive in the running game. They're over 100-something in the nation. Therefore, they're automatically one-dimensional going into the game. Boston College got a good run defense. They can make them be one-dimensional. And I think field position will be really important. Boston College, between the quarterback run and the tailback run, that's what they do. But Penn State's got such a huge strength. So I think turnovers, field position, great punting game, put them back there, don't turn the ball over. I think it could very well be a low-scoring game like you mentioned, and where field position is really, really important.
Tommy, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Coach.
Hey, y'all have a good thank you.
All right, Tommy Bowden from Raycom Sports. We'll come back with more in a moment on Blue White Tailgate, presented by Coors Light. Well, after Tommy Bowden struggled on that answer, we will then go to the Penn State offense. Talk about that. We get to the drive of the year, brought to you by our good friends at Stocker Chevrolet, located on the Benner Pike across from the Nittany Mall. We go back to game number 3 on the season. Nittany Lions down, quick in route to Gino Lewis. He breaks tackles, and down the sideline he goes to set up Penn State. The Nittany Lions at this stage are down in the game 10-6. Look at that quick in route, and then perfect throw by Hackenberg in a great spot. Now it sets them up downfield. Fires it. Deshaun Hamilton in traffic. Moves the ball upfield again. Hackenberg, touchdown pass right there to Jesse James. Called back because of holding on Angelo Mangiero. But then comes right back with this perfectly placed ball to Gino Lewis between the safety and the corner. Can't ask for better than that little pump fake. And it's right there where they need it. And that will then set up Bill Belton with 1:13 to go in the game. Belton brings it home from there, and the Nittany Lions win the game 13-10 over Rutgers. For Christian Hackenberg, 5 comebacks in his career. That was one of them right there.
Well, hopefully it'll be 5 for this year.
Yeah.
Without that drive.
That's right.
We're not sitting here, right?
Yeah.
They're 5-7 without that drive.
Without
we may
that
not
drive.
be doing a bowl special. So
Exactly
thanks
right.
to that drive, we're here today.
Exactly right. That coffee table at the Sadowski house, courtesy of that drive. All right, let's get to there's been some criticism, by the way, of the offense. I don't know where it's come from, but Deshaun Hamilton says, so what?
But yeah, it's annoying. You know, some of the guys we've seen what things people say. We've seen people say about Hack, or anybody like that. You know, honestly, it bothers. To me personally, it bothers me because like I said, a lot of the fans don't know what they're talking about. You know, they can say whatever they want. You know, obviously because they're behind a computer screen or anything like that. So. But at the same time, they don't know what they're talking about. And when we go out there, we're just trying to prove everybody wrong, and we're not really playing to necessarily please fans or anything like that. We're playing to win games. And
Well, let's take a look at the numbers, Todd, because the numbers obviously for Penn State offensively this year are not going to look great. And as we take a look at the numbers for the year, not terrific for the
Yeah, and there's been regression. I mean, that's why there's been criticism. And it's interesting because you see those throws from Christian Hackenberg from early in the season against Central Florida and that drive against Rutgers. Nice, stable feet. I mean, look, real confident throwing the ball. That's about 50 hits ago early in the season. He really took a pounding back there. We knew that was going to happen. And the other thing I find interesting is that it's a freshman that is talking about the criticism and answering those questions. How many of the plays that we see the offense make came from underclassmen? And these guys are so young, and they're answering the critics at such a tender age, right, in their career for Penn State, because there's just not a lot of upperclassmen that are making those plays. So the criticism's there, but they'll get past it, and they'll get to next year, and there'll be less criticism because they'll be better.
Can bowl practice fix it, or does it go back to what I asked Tommy Bowden about, being that bridge to the spring?
Well, I think that the ball practice can certainly help. I mean, the fact is that, Penn State has had, a lot of trouble this year protecting Christian Hackenberg. They're starting to get a Keel Lynch in the running game. So, I mean, that's really positive. But, I mean, to have an extra 2 or 3 weeks of practice, especially with guys that have been hurt, between Diffenbach and Donovan Smith, I mean, it's huge for them.
Okay, but bringing pressure. They bring pressure. And Penn State has been obviously hurt by pressure this year.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State that's been kind of an Achilles heel. We keep talking about the offensive line, but the fact is you've got more time to practice. I think that you've got 2 veteran guys in there, probably playing their last games as football players. I mean, it's a really big thing, and they have to kind of stay together.
All right, and then for Deshaun Hamilton, one thing he does have, he has always been on the same page with Christian Hackenberg because they came in together. He said that part's really important.
We're just working on getting back to the basics, and then me and Hack specifically, we're working on basically timing and, like the things we used to do back in the summer. Because during the season, you're not really allowed to, I mean, not allowed, but you're not really able to go back and get back to the basics because you're really worried about game plans and who you're playing next week. And then now, we're getting back to working on our individual skill sets and getting better fundamentally. So me and Hack, we're just going out there and, just talking through things when we run routes on the air and things like that. And basically we do like team periods. We always talk through what we saw and where he expects me to be or things like that, or where he expects the ball to be at any given time or anything like that.
Yeah, playing to win games, but at the same time, they have an ability, if they win this game, the good feeling they get out of this is going to carry through the winter into the spring.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the fact that those two looked at each other and said, look, this is the combination that's going to work for this offense. Let's get back on the same page. Let's start working on the things that we were working on in the summertime, and let's get back together. Now, he's down to 11 yards per catch. At the beginning of the year, he was starting to get a few more explosive plays, and then all of a sudden it's the drop-off passes. So Hamilton's been catching the ball all year long, but it's about getting a few more yards, whether it's after the catch because the throw's a little bit off target or not in the right spot. They get on the same page, and they're going to get back to that explosive combination, not just a good pass-catching combination.
Family clothesline player to watch is Keel Lynch, Trey. He's going to be critical against a team that gives up just 95 yards per game rushing.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the fact that, he's really come on strong. He's a good kid in the locker room. He's had a really interesting career to date, and, I'm really excited for him to have a big game this week.
In fact, you brought up what he's done down the stretch the last 3 games, Todd. Big.
Yeah, 318 yards in the last 3 games, so he's averaging over 100 a game, and it's really interesting to see the ebb and the flow of the Penn State offense. They started off really good, then they had that middle, they couldn't run the ball at all, and then towards the tail end, they got Miles back, Donovan back, and now they should all be healthy, and they've been able to run the ball a little bit. Not going to be easy against Boston College, though. That
extra month for Diffenbach is going to buy him a little time. I think that's a big part of this, too, and he'll be next to Donovan Smith. The other part, too, is watch for Penn State. You watch BC's defense, underneath is open, and Penn State may go underneath and use those like running plays in this game. Recruiting. Penn State has hit stride recruiting again. Todd and Andrew come back to talk about that after this.
The staff has brought them to Happy Valley. Can they get them to sign on the dotted line when the signing period comes around? Welcome back to the Blue White Tailgate. It's time to talk recruiting with Andrew Kalista, who is in with us now. It is sponsored by Central PA Dock and Door, and it is the dead period, Andrew, but you can't tell because there's still a lot going on.
Yes, and the dead period, it's for recruiting. We're not talking about Mark Emmert's tenure as the NCAA president either. But a lot of stuff going on for Penn State. Coach Franklin and his staff has had an incredible schedule. They've been in Connecticut, they've been in North Carolina, they've been all over the region. In fact, he's flying out of Happy Valley in the morning, visiting, coming back, and then flying back out for an afternoon visit with these guys.
Why does this not surprise anyone? This is the schedule that this man keeps. And he said it's the kind of schedule that he needs to keep. It's really important when it comes to recruiting.
The home visits are very, very important to me for a number of reasons. I want to be able to go into the school and pay respect to the high school coach, pay respect to the community. I think that's very, very important that you do that. I also think that it helps you understand the young man. Same reason for the home.
Well, and when Coach Franklin gets in front of the parents, gets into the living room, it's awfully hard to say no to this guy.
It's almost like Sue Paterno's pasta and meatballs over at the Paterno house. Coach Franklin always likes to cite breaking bread with the parents and the grandparents and things like that. And that's what you have to do in today's recruiting, because there's so much negativity in college sports and things like that. I like that he gets in there, gets his hands dirty, so to speak, and does keep that hectic schedule to make sure he gets everything. And one other thing that he pointed out, it's important to talk to the opposing coaches to see what they think of the players, because you want good character guys on your team.
All right, so which living rooms did he get into, and which ones are we expecting to join the team?
Well, there was a big news just last week. Paris Palmer from Lackawanna County Community College, he's officially a Nittany Lion. He signed the big offensive tackle. This is a big get. It's a JUCO. You have to bring in guys. Just look at him on film. He's tenacious on the offensive line. He's big. He was committed to the Gamecocks down in South Carolina. He's actually from right outside of Columbia, South Carolina. That's a huge get for Coach Franklin. Could provide immediate help to that offensive line.
And of course, you'd like to get into that top 25 with the actual play on the field, but they get back into the recruiting top 10 with that.
They've rattled off 3 guys, Tommy Stevens, Garrett Taylor, the DB, and now with Paris Palmer back into the top 10 at number 10. Ohio State, though, at number 6. And, of course, Alabama, number 1, semi-pro.
All right, well, we want to be in that top 10 there. From there, you can see what you get with your guys. Okay, just a minute left. Quarterback situation. We had one guy leave, but we still got plenty of guys signed up.
Yeah, my opinion on the quarterback situation, I know a lot of people like to take a quarterback every year. I'm not like that. I like to keep it a fluid situation. But Michael Connor gone. They do have Tommy Stevens coming in this year. And then next year, Jake Zimbiak, Brandon McElwain from Council Rock North. That region is loaded next year for quarterback, so it should be pretty good. And Trace McSorley still on the roster, should be noted.
Well, that O'Connor departure was no surprise. He was brought in by O'Brien, and they want dual threat quarterbacks for Coach Franklin and his offensive system. This is a big game with Coach Adazio. They both work that New Jersey recruiting block. So this is a big one at Yankee Stadium for both programs.
This is huge. Boston College loves New Jersey. Remember the linebacker Brian Toll? Everybody thought that he was going to be a Penn State lock. Yeah, he shipped up to Boston, went to the Eagles. But Pennsylvania, that eastern side of the state, along with New Jersey and the lower part of New York, that's a huge recruiting area for Boston College as well.
And we take a look at the Health South injury update. Adam Brenneman on the list, of course, but everyone that is healthy, can be healthy, is playing and will be suited up at Yankee Stadium. Of course, Andrew Kalista will be there. Thanks a lot, man. We appreciate it. Great job talking recruiting all year.
Always good being here with you, Todd.
Okay, we're going to be right back. Coming up on the Blue White Tailgate.
All right, we welcome you back. Steve, Trey, Todd, good to have you with us. Boston College is the assignment. Steve Adazio, interesting, going into the Florida game when Penn State played in the Outback Bowl and Tyler Murphy was on the sideline as a true freshman, the word was that Urban Meyer was not going to retain him as the coach. And yet, he came out of that and got the Temple head coaching job. He stays there 2 years, and then he goes back to his New England roots, Boston College, and it looks, Trey, that he's done a good job there.
No, I mean, I think he's done a great job. I think he's a great fit for that program. If you remember, I mean, at one point, probably 10, 12 years ago, they were the pit of the Northeast. I mean, they were going through coaches every 2 or 3 years, and the fact is you got a guy like Steve who's an intense guy. I think it really resonates with their alums, and I think that I'd be very surprised if he wasn't there a long time.
Well, and I like the fact that he recognizes he's not going to get the 5-chip, the blue chip recruits up to New England. What's everybody talking about with college football? All the kids are heading south, at least all the blue chippers. And I heard an interview with him. He likes dudes. He likes those 2, 3-star recruits, right? And you hear Coach Adazio talking, just the media press conference for Coach Franklin and Coach Adazio. It was incredible to hear those guys sell it. It was like the college football semifinal playoff. The Pinstripe Bowl, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and just brings that energy to the program. And you mentioned that's his roots, and I think he's going to get kids that understand what he's trying to do and going to want to play for him.
I mean, he's a Connecticut guy. Yeah. I mean, and to go back to New England, and it makes I think that going to the ACC was something that it took a long time for the fans up there to go, we're doing what? We're playing who?
Yeah.
In everything. And I think that's been an issue for them.
Sure.
All right, so let's get to James Franklin. The BC offense, well, he knows Tyler Murphy. They faced him last year when he was the quarterback of Florida. His thoughts?
They've returned 4 starters this year. They're a big formation team, so they're going to try to out-formation you, out-leverage you, a lot of unbalanced, a lot of quarterback running game. The quarterback and the running back are the guys that really make them go. They have a veteran, big physical offensive line. I think they're 15th in the nation in rushing at 251 yards per game.
Yeah, they sure are, and it really starts with those 5 guys up front. Silberman transferred in from Florida. Gee, check out that pipeline. and they have 5 grads up front.
How much have we talked about our inexperienced offensive line this year, right? How nice would it be to look to your right, you got a senior, an upper class. Look to your left, you got a senior. They get all graduate students at Boston College. That's not an easy graduate degree to get, and there's some smart guys dealing it. And the option really starts with a veteran quarterback anyway with good decision making. We talked about this team doesn't turn the ball over, but it's also the decisions get made right from the get-go. Do I hand it off inside? Do I take it outside? When do I pitch it? It's all about good decision making, and they got a good guy doing that.
Yeah, and Murphy's that guy. He's the focal point for what they do. Hillman's really good. Bordner's okay at wide out. Alston, they love that jet sweep with him. They give you a lot of looks.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it's going to be a challenge for Penn State, but I mean, I like our chances. The fact is that, we are stout up front. We've got Mike Hull, they don't. Our secondary is very solid, and we've got really good tacklers across the board. So, I mean, when you're defending an option, you need to be able to tackle well.
In fact, Mike Hull might be the best player on the field on both sides.
Yes, I agree.
I think that's one of the keys there. Getting Bell back to go with Wortman is huge in this game because now you have linebackers that really can play out in space and play well. Defensively, James Franklin says, you talk about unconventional offensively, same story on defense.
They're an interesting defense, and he's been this way for a long time. They don't match personnel. So what I mean by that is typically people will go to a 3-down front on a passing situation to get more DBs in the game. He'll do it all the time. So you may be in 12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and 1 back, and they'll go 3 down and just blitz you like crazy from all different angles.
And I think they blitz like crazy from all different angles because they're not very good against the pass.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a reason that what they do, and the fact is that they do give up a lot of yards, they want to control the tempo of the game. They rush the ball very well. You got to give them that, but they need to control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, Steven Daniels, the middle linebacker, good, not great, but good. Manny Asperia, I think, is probably a pro at corner. He's actually a pretty good player. Dom Williams, not bad at safety. But they leave a lot of room. You can go underneath them and get yardage.
Well, and I'll give you credit, Steve. In our meeting pre-show, you mentioned an interesting stat, 30 sacks, 26 sacks in their victories, 7 victories, only 4 in the 5 losses. So obviously the key is to pick up the blitz. And if the offensive lineman can identify it, Akeel Lynch, whoever's in the backfield, can pick up the blitz, give Christian Hackenberg a little bit of time, they can make those throws underneath or get the hot read and get that ball down the field. Of course, Christian needs to take care of the ball and make good decisions himself. 15 interceptions this year, so he cannot turn the ball over when it comes to this team.
And a quick hitting underneath passing game takes the blitz off the board sometimes.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And the fact is we need to get our tight ends involved in the game. Eddie Loth, my friend, all year long has been saying, where are the tight ends? The tight ends will be at the Pinstripe Bowl. All right? You got to get him the ball. We'll get the tight ends the ball. And I think it's going to be a really good matchup for us.
Coming up, our final G block of the year. We'll have the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll also find out if there's any bowl game at all that Trey cares about.
Let me say there's at least one.
We will come back, wrap it up in a moment on the Blue White Tailgate Show presented by Coors Light. Penn State seniors one final time and one final segment for this season for us, and then Andrew has to get the poinsettias back to whatever location he took them from. All right, we get to the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll start with the good. The Penn State women's volleyball team under Russ Rose, the gold standard, 7 national championships overall, back-to-back national championships, and Oklahoma City's been very kind to Penn State, the exact same arena where the wrestling team won their 4th straight title back in March. Trey?
The bad, although on this show for this season, I don't like Florida State, I don't like the SEC, I like Penn State, and I don't like everybody else. But the fact is, for them to win 29 games in a row, and for them to be 8-point underdogs against an Oregon team, is just unfathomable to me. I mean, the fact is that they're the national champs, they're undefeated, and the fact is that it's bad that they don't have the respect that they deserve.
The ugly. All right, I get the ugly. The Big Ten, 10 bowl games. Fantastic. You got 10 bowl-eligible teams. They're all underdogs. Every single one of them in every bowl game they're in, including the Heart of Dallas Bowl. Louisiana Tech is a favorite over Illinois. And another ugly note, Pitt's looking for another coach, Paul Chryst, to Wisconsin. And there's another vacancy on the western side of the state.
Now let's get to who you got. We'll start out with what I think is a good matchup at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. That'll be TCU against Ole Miss.
Who I got? I'll take Ole Miss. It's been a special year for those guys. I think the Big 12 might be a little overrated. We're going to find out, and I'll go with Ole Miss.
Todd and I going to Trey's house to watch the Fiesta Bowl. Can't wait. Big party. Love the chip and dip night. Fabulous. Boise State, Arizona. Who you got?
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.
I think the door's locked. Security system's on. I don't even think he's going to be there.
It actually has more to do with you and me, actually.
Possibly.
I think that's the issue. Mississippi State, Georgia Tech in the Orange Bowl.
Mississippi State, Georgia Tech. How about I'll go with that option offense. I'll take Georgia Tech. They've played pretty good toward the end of the year.
Michigan State, Baylor in the Cotton Bowl.
I care. I care.
On.
Mark D'Antonio, Michigan State, Sparty. I think Michigan State just puts an old-fashioned you-know-what on them, and I think they really take it to Baylor.
Finesse teams don't like to get smacked in the mouth.
Yes.
Baylor will show something to me if they get smacked in the mouth and win this game, because Michigan State will haymaker them. They will smash them in the mouth.
Agreed.
Oregon, Florida State. Oof. We'll get a call from each of you on this.
Oregon by 7. They're giving Florida State 8, so I'd take the points. But I think Oregon's just built a little bit differently than they have been in the past, and I don't think Florida State's going to be able to come back from this one.
Okay, see, I completely disagree. The fact is Florida State are the defending national champs. They're undefeated. I think they really take it to them. I mean, it could be an 8-point win for Florida State.
NFL guys all over the roster.
Yep.
I'll say this. The one thing about Oregon that's impressed me, they have not just the speed on offense, which we all say and see. Their speed on defense is impressive. But you know what? As great as Mariota was this year, I got a feeling Winston's going to play a big game in this one. Alabama, Ohio State, Todd.
I just think Alabama's got too much. I mean, if J.T. Barrett was playing in this game, it would be different. But Alabama's going to beat Ohio State.
If Barrett plays, I pick them. What do you think?
I think that if Rex Kern can play quarterback for Ohio State, that's for all the parents watching this. He may be playing quarterback. I think Alabama's too strong for them, and I think that they take it to him.
If Barrett played, I would have picked Ohio State. No Barrett, because I'm not a big Blake Sims guy. I really am not. And, he's older than people realize, and he's not really that great. Let's get to the keys of the game. What do you think about this one?
I think the keys to the game for me is, can Akeel Lynch get over 100 yards rushing, and can we protect Christian Hackenberg? Also, I think that how we tackle on defense, gang tackling, not give up any big runs.
Yeah, no yards after contact. I agree with that completely. I think also the kicking game is going to be important. Sam Ficken needs to hit a couple of field goals in this game. They're going to go with a freshman kicker. They're going to change kickers for BC for this game. They also have to control the BC return game, and then Penn State needs to be at least even in that area.
We talked about they don't turn the ball over a lot. That means they got to get them off the field. Number 2 in the nation in third down conversion percentage for Penn State's defense. Only 27% of the time does the opponent convert it into a first down. Also, the we-fence that Coach James Franklin talks about. Special teams will be big. They got to have a good day from the punters, and I think Sam Ficken can make the difference. 23 of 28 field goals. Only missed 5 kicks this year.
Always enjoy working with you. You're a great addition. Well, a lot of fun. Great to have you on board. We had a lot of fun this year. We hope that you found this to be informative and entertaining at the same time. For Trey, Todd, Kalista, and the entire crew, I'm Steve Jones. Thanks for joining us at the Blue White Tailgate presented by Coors Light.